The call came late Tuesday afternoon while I was parked outside a grocery store, killing time in my truck. I'd been applying everywhere that didn't dig too deep in the background checks. Most places stopped responding the moment my license came up. So when my phone actually rang, I answered before it could stop. A woman introduced herself quickly and said Bonneville Power was looking for overnight security at a substation near Coyote Springs. Overnight, immediate start. I agreed before she finished explaining. She didn't ask for paperwork, didn't mention benefits, just gave me directions and a start time. That alone told me something wasn't right. Companies like that don't usually hire same day unless they're short on options. But I didn't have the luxury of asking why. My gas light was already on, my motel rent was due in a few days, and I had less than $70 left. A DUI earlier that year had shut down my union work, and the hearing alone cost me weeks I couldn't afford. Survival makes decisions easier. I drove out as the sun dipped behind the hills. Boardman was nothing but flat land and open sky. Irrigation arms stretching across dry fields, wind turbines turning slowly in the distance. The substation sat miles outside town, fenced off and quiet. I could see the towers long before I reached the gate, sharp metal shapes against the fading light. The entrance was unmanned, just a card reader and an intercom mounted on a post. I sat there with the engine idling, wondering if I was early, when a woman stepped out from a small utility building nearby. She wore a BPA jacket and walked with purpose. She stopped a few feet away and looked me over, not suspicious, just checking details. Clyde Cooper? That's me. Ruby Park. I handle access for this site. She asked for my ID, glanced at it once, then checked a box on her clipboard. You've done electrical work before? Yeah, industrial, union. But not lately. No. She handed the license back. Good. You're not here for that. You're here to watch the building, monitor cameras, call if something's wrong. That was it. She let me through the gate and locked it behind us. The place hummed with low power, something you feel more than hear. The control building was a squat concrete box, windows narrow and dark. Beyond it, the switchyard glowed under floodlights, rows of equipment standing silent and precise. I noticed Ruby kept glancing toward it. Not long looks, just quick checks, like she was expecting movement. Inside the building, the air smelled like old coffee and cleaner. She told me the pay without emotion. $30 an hour. Cash. End of shift. Then she said something that settled heavy in my stomach. The previous guard was supposed to finish yesterday, she said. Stopped answering calls around 3 in the morning. Never checked out. I asked if they'd found him. Building was locked. Everything secure. He wasn't here. She didn't elaborate. I should have left. Anyone offering double pay to replace someone who vanished overnight is not offering a safe job. But I thought about the motel, the gas gauge, the silence from every other employer. So I stayed. Ruby placed a small laminated card on the desk and slid it toward me. Read this, she said. Don't comment, just read. The card was worn, like it had been handled too many times. Overnight security protocols, Coyote Springs. The rules underneath were specific. Too specific. Certain doors that couldn't be opened after exact times. Instructions about lights blinking, when to ignore the intercom, what to do if the power hum stopped. I looked up and asked what happened if someone didn't follow them. Her answer came immediately. People get hurt. She told me one guard answered the intercom when he wasn't supposed to. They found him outside the fence the next day, no memory of how he got there, wouldn't return. I folded the card and slipped it into my pocket. Ruby paused at the door, then looked back. Keep your head clear and follow the rules exactly. Then she left. The gate closed. Her engine faded into the distance. I stood alone in the control room, holding keys that belonged to someone who never finished his shift, and realized I had just agreed to sit here until morning. The moment Ruby's truck disappeared beyond the fence, the silence settled in. Not quiet, exactly. There was still that low electrical hum, but human noise was gone. No footsteps, no voices, just the building breathing power through its walls. I checked my phone out of habit. No signal, no bars, no carrier name, just an empty icon and the time glowing back at me. It might as well have been a brick. The control room was simple. 4 monitors on the desk, each split into multiple camera feeds. Fence lines, gravel, the switchyard, a hallway behind me. Above them, older system screens cycled numbers I recognized but didn't need to touch. Everything looked normal. That made it worse. I sat down, adjusted the chair, and laid the laminated card beside the clipboard. 5 rules, all of them strange in different ways. Not safety warnings, behavior instructions. Midnight came and went quietly. Around 11:30, I did another visual sweep. Cameras steady, doors sealed, nothing moving outside. I found the bay door during that round. Heavy steel, industrial latch, leading directly into the switchyard. Rule 1 mentioned it specifically. I checked the clock again. 11:56. I went back to the desk and poured myself some coffee from the break room. It tasted burnt and old, but it was warm. I was halfway through logging the time when my phone buzzed. I froze. No service, no signal, and yet an incoming call. The name on the screen was someone I hadn't talked to in weeks. Ricky Banks. I answered immediately. He sounded relieved to hear my voice, said he'd tried my cell, got nothing, then called the site number, and somehow it forwarded. He asked if I was okay. I told him about the job, the missing guard, the rules. I could hear his tone change when I read a few of them out loud. "That's not normal protocol," he said. "That's containment." He warned me to stay inside, to not investigate anything, to follow the card even if it didn't make sense. Before hanging up, he said something that stuck with me. "Don't try to understand why the rules exist. Just follow them." The clock ticked over to midnight. I logged it. Then I waited. At 12:04 exactly, the bay doors slammed. Not wind howling, not pressure building, just impact. Hard enough to rattle the frame. I stood so fast the chair squealed, walked halfway down the hall and stopped. The door shuddered again. Whatever hit it wasn't pushing, it was striking, like something testing weight and resistance. Then it stopped. I checked the latch, solid, fully seated. The clock read 12:06. I returned to the desk and sat down, heart still thudding. At 12:07 exactly, the yard lights blinked. Once, twice, 3 times. Rule 2. I didn't hesitate. I stood, turned my back to the monitors and faced the south wall. Beige paint, safety notices, a red fire extinguisher with a faded inspection tag. I started counting out loud. My voice sounded wrong in the room, too loud, too thin. Halfway through, I became painfully aware of the space behind me. Not movement, just presence. I finished the count. 60. When I turned back around, everything looked normal. The lights were steady, the cameras showed nothing out of place, but the timing was perfect, like something had been waiting for me to follow instructions. I didn't touch the coffee again. The next few minutes passed slowly. Too slowly. I forced myself to stay seated, eyes moving across the monitors in a steady pattern. Fence, yard, hallway, switchgear, back again. No shortcuts, no lingering. That's when headlights appeared. Camera 3, the gate view. A white pickup rolled into frame and stopped just short of the fence. The lights stayed on, The engine didn't shut off. No one got out. I leaned closer to the screen. The truck didn't idle the way it should. No vibration, no door movement, just parked, like it had been placed there. I checked the other feeds. No dust on the access road, no approach from the highway. It was just there. That was the first thing that bothered me. The second was the way it sat. The bed was empty, but the rear suspension sagged low, like it was carrying more weight than it should, enough to make the tires squat slightly into the gravel. I reached for the radio on the desk. Then I stopped. The card didn't say to call for vehicles. It said to call if something unusual happened, but I didn't know what unusual meant here. Ruby hadn't defined it, and the last guard had stopped answering calls entirely. I watched the truck instead. After about a minute, the headlights shut off. No dimming, no delay, just off. The truck stayed. Floodlights still illuminated it clearly, but when I tried to focus on it, really focus, my eyes slid away. Not physically, mentally. I could see the fence posts, the gravel, the gate arm, but the truck itself refused to settle in my vision. I blinked, looked again. Same thing. I wasn't dizzy, the screen wasn't glitching, the image was clean. My brain just avoided it. I checked the timestamp. Live feed, no delay. When I looked away for a moment and glanced back, the truck was gone. No movement, no taillights, no dust. Just empty gravel. I scanned every exterior camera. Nothing leaving, nothing approaching. The access road stretched straight for half a mile. If it had driven off, I would have seen it. I logged nothing. Around 2:10, the hum changed. Not louder, not quieter, thinner, like a sound stripped of weight. Every instinct told me to look up, toward the ceiling, toward the source, but Rule 5 snapped into my head before I could move. If the hum stops completely, remain seated, do not look up. It hadn't stopped. Not yet. So I stared at the floor, counted tiles, scratches, a dark coffee stain shaped like a kidney bean. The hum wavered, then slowly filled back in, settling into its familiar drone. I lifted my head. Everything looked the same, but when I took a sip of coffee, it tasted metallic, wrong. I set it aside. At 2:41 a.m., the intercom crackled. The screen lit up, blank, no green text. I didn't touch it. A woman's voice came through anyway, calm, familiar. "Clyde, this is Ruby. I'm at the gate. The reader isn't responding." I checked camera 3. The gate was empty. No truck, no person, just fence and light. "I need you to cycle the lock from inside. It'll only take a minute." I stared at the intercom screen. Blank. Rule 3 was clear. I didn't answer. The voice repeated my name, same tone, same cadence, but there was something under it now. Something patient. Waiting. The intercom went silent. I didn't breathe until the screen went dark. A minute later, all 4 camera monitors fuzzed into static at once. Then they cleared. Someone was in the switchyard. The figure moved slowly through the switchyard. Dark coveralls, work boots, no reflective vest. I grabbed the laminated card and found Rule 4 immediately. If you see anyone in the switchyard not wearing high-visibility gear, trigger Alarm 2. Do not attempt identification. Do not observe the yard again until the lights cycle. My hand slammed the button. A siren barked once outside, short, sharp, then cut off. The figure stopped. For a moment, it didn't move at all, just stood between the equipment like it was listening. Then it turned. The camera caught its face. It was mine. Not similar, not close, exact. Same eyes, same scar on my lip, same expression I'd seen in mirrors my whole life. It stared directly into the camera, unblinking. Then it started moving again, faster than it should have been able to, not running, just covering ground wrong, distance collapsing in seconds. The yard lights stayed on. I looked away too late. They blinked. Once. Twice. 3 times. I turned to the south wall and started counting. I didn't stop when my hands began shaking. I didn't stop when the footsteps started inside the building. Wet footsteps. Slow. Measured. They stopped near the bay door. The handle turned slightly. Tested. Then harder. The hum thinned again, like something pulling power out of the air. I counted anyway. When I hit 60, the room went quiet. No footsteps, no pressure. When I turned back, the hallway was empty. The cameras showed nothing. At 3:05 a.m., every feed filled with static. Then snapped back. The figure was still there, but now it stood by a cabinet near the bypass. An orange safety vest hung from a hook beside it. The figure reached out and put it on, carefully, correctly. The intercom lit up. Green text. Test. My own voice came through the speaker, asking for confirmation. Ricky was shouting through the phone for me not to answer. The thing outside reached for the controls. I went to the panel Ruby never mentioned and through the manual bypass. The building shook. The yard went black. Something hit the fence hard enough to bend metal. And then, my voice screamed. Outside. Long, continuous, inhuman. When the hum returned, the screaming stopped. I didn't move until dawn. Ruby came back with the foreman and a crew just after 6. The fence was bowed outward. An orange vest lay fused into the gravel near the bypass cabinet. They asked what I saw. I told them only what mattered. I followed the rules. Jimmy, the foreman, said the card I'd been given was outdated, laminated over instead of replaced. The old instructions underneath told guards to confront trespassers. Ruby didn't deny it. She just nodded once and asked if I'd be willing to work another night. I said no. I left with cash in my pocket and a certainty I can't shake. Those rules weren't there to protect the site. They were there to protect the person inside.